Folks, it started. Yeah, what we thought will never happen, it's now started to happen. And I believe it's not going to be the end of the story because we have news that just reported a couple of hours ago that fund managers arrested after the $20 billion hedge fund or fund imploded. And yeah, there have been arrests because the CEO, owner, or whatever, all right? The guy who used to run this family hedge fund, which is Archegos Capital, has now been arrested today. The manager of failed family fund Archegos Capital was arrested on April 27 at his home in Manhattan as authorities announced a slew of indictments and new investigations from two separate agencies. He was arrested after, we all know what happened, back in 2019. And he lost $20 billion. But the $20 billion he lost was not only his company, all right? There were other companies that, like Credit Suisse, the banks, or other companies, stocks like, ViacomCBS, Discovery, Baidu, Tencent, who also lost a big amount of the market capitalization just because of this, all right? So this is just the beginning of what I believe to be a huge investigation that the DOJ started, that the SEC started, and now this is just, the results of it, because we already knew that there is a vast investigation started by the DOJ to actually make sure, and by, this Financial Risk Committee from the White House to make sure what happened with Archegos, it's not to be repeated, all right? But what is really interesting here is this sluggish debut forced Archegos to liquidate $20 billion are made of what regulators allege was market manipulation and fraud orchestrated by Hwang and his lieutenant. So he's not the only guy who was arrested. All right. But what's really interesting is this article from CBS News. The owner of New York-based hedge fund that collapsed when it defaulted on margin calls was arrested Wednesday on charges alleging he defrauded leading global investment banks and brokerage of billions of dollars by telling them lies so his private investment firm could grow its portfolio from $10 billion to $160 billion. Let me pause there for a second because this, I believe, it's where the bottom line is. The bottom line is usually these hedge funds, these big companies, or these big family funds, or, whatever, investment firms, whatever you want to call them, sometimes some of them, in order to move big amount of money, big amount of cash in the market, as on some of the stocks they believe are going to either run higher or to go down, whatever the strategy may be, they usually run on high margin because these are kind of what we call high conviction plays. Like when they move that kind of money, they move because they know it's pretty much a done deal. But sometimes, because nobody can predict the future, it doesn't happen that way. And this was the result. Now, let me put it in perspective for those of you or those still active as short sellers here in AMC. What do you think is going to be next now that bunch of clients are frustrated with their performance not, meeting the market and not meeting their expectations? So clients are now looking forward to getting the money out. But after these arrests, all right, not only it sends a signal that, hey, maybe these authorities are not as silent or, or kind of smooth or teethless as we thought. All right. So that's number one. Number two, it sends another strong signal to some of the people here who might as well be on the same path, and maybe they will get scared. Maybe the clients will put pressure on them because the money that an investment firm or, a big hedge fund, whether it is big, small, or medium, the money they move in the market is the money coming from leverage and the money coming from clients. So clients are going to be even more pissed off, more spooked, and put some more pressure into these guys, forcing them to actually do deleverage. And by deleveraging, it means either reducing the positions that they already have in some of the, the big cap stocks, which are not doing as well as we thought they will be, or they will get the money out by covering some of the positions that are bleeding them so far because the pressure is then too much, So, I'm pretty sure some of these It's a similar situation. We're going to hear about this, in the near coming future because, now it's not only about, hey, you lost the money, all right? We're going to give you a fine. Now we're talking about people going to jail. For a billionaire, usually that is not something that is quite glamorous. And I can, assure you that if I was a client of such a company, my next step will be to start looking for my cash to be withdrawn, and I'm gone. So another bullish sentiment, another bullish catalyst for AMC. So yeah, just be patient, folks. It's coming. It's coming.